Hi, everyone. This is Holly Wade with Holly Wade Wellness. Thank you for joining this week's episode of Living from the Inside Out. If you missed last week's episode, I'm doing a series on healthy holidays. So last week we talked about the stressors, one of the common stressors of the holidays, which is finances. This week, we're talking family and friends. Why does that stress us out over the holidays? Well, one reason is coming off of last week's feeling like we need to get gifts for so many people, or that we might disappoint them if we don't, or if we don't find that right gift. But let's dig a little deeper. Let's go beyond that. There are certain people that we just don't look forward to seeing during the holiday season, right? We all have that relative. We all have that person that drives us nuts, that's going to bring up every political thing, or is just simply inappropriate, or I don't know, there's something about him that just rubs you the wrong way. Doesn't matter. And then we have gobs of people in the stores, and everybody's frantic and stressed, and so just people in general can be kind of stressful and create that stress in the holiday season. So how do you handle it? Let's dig at what's at the root, besides the chaos and all the things. Last year, my mom, we were dealing with some family dynamics a year ago. My grandmother had fallen again and was in the hospital, and we knew it was getting to those last days of her life, and we didn't know, how much life there was going to be. So that was one thing going. People were non-committal in terms of the holiday dinner, and so she was trying to plan, trying to figure out groceries, trying to do all those things. And turned to me one day. We were standing in the kitchen, and she turned to me and she said, "No matter what I do, there will be someone who isn't happy." And she had tears welling up in her eyes, because that's what she was trying to do. She was trying to recreate those holiday memories that my grandmother used to create, this big feast with the full family. And of course, this is going to be the last one, or knowing that would be the last one with the full family together. I had tried to tell her, we don't need to do Thanksgiving this year. And she just felt this compelling need to do it. And as I sat with that question, no matter what I do, there'll be someone who isn't happy. As I sat with that statement, with that comment, I thought, how true to life is that? And this is why the holidays are just that much more. Like, everything gets magnified during the holiday season. We try to create happiness through the gifts we give. We try to create happiness through spreading ourselves thin, by attending all of these social events, by spreading ourselves thin financially. We try to make others happy through unrealistic expectations. And that might not just be during the holiday season. See, last I knew, it was no one's job. No one gets paid. No one gets this assignment to make everyone else happy, except maybe Santa. But it's not your job to make everyone else happy. It's their responsibility to find that within themselves. Happiness is an individual choice. Even kids can decide to be happy. They can They can decide to be happy with the gift they got. They can decide to be happy with the box. They can decide to be happy without. They can decide to be happy just as well as the adults. When you can separate your own joy from this expectant outcome of others, you tap into your own power. And this is going to take some practice, and it's going to take some boundaries. So just like last week's conversation where I said, now is the time to start having conversations about the expectations around gifts. Now is the time to have conversations about expectations in general. And you may have to have some difficult conversations with family members where you may have to make a decision that maybe you can't afford the trip to go see them for the holidays this year. Or maybe you can't afford emotionally to make that trip. Maybe it has nothing to do with finances. Or maybe you're choosing something different, or maybe you have to split families for the first time. That was a new experience for me last year. I've never had a boyfriend during the holidays, and I finally did and finally do. And we had to split Thanksgiving and Christmas, and that was an interesting negotiation and interesting to talk to my family about it. But as we have those conversations, we can set people up for somewhat of the known. They might be disappointed that you don't come. They might be disappointed that you don't have gifts. They might be disappointed that you limit the talk around politics or don't engage in their controversial, whatever the case may be. And it's okay. It's okay. To counter is this struggle to make others happy. Practice joy and gratitude every single day. Not just happiness, but joy. And this is why. Because happiness is a fleeting emotion. You can't be happy and sad, but joy is ever flowing. You can have joy in the midst of sadness or grief or sorrow or other emotions. So as an example, last Christmas when my grandma had passed away, I wasn't happy by any means. I was sad. And I was able to tap into my joy. I could find joy in the fact that I got to be her grandkid the longest. I could find joy in one last celebration with aunts and uncles and cousins, and knowing that that won't happen again. That's the difference. Several years ago, I made the intention that all November I did a gratitude journal, and I'd write down 5 to 10 things that I was grateful for, just to get into the spirit of the holiday season. And then I started to go a little bit deeper and deciding what would allow me to enjoy, to be in the spirit of joy through the holiday season. And when you close your eyes and you think about those things that just bring a smile to your face about the holidays, I bet it's simple things. I bet it's not as complicated as we want to make it. For me, it's those Christmas movies with the Christmas tree on, like all the Christmas lights, everything else turned down, maybe a few candles lit, hot drink, curled up under a blanket, or driving around to look at the Christmas lights, or just listening to Christmas music, or just sitting in the soft glow of the Christmas lights. See, for me, that's where I can find that peace and internally explore the real meaning of the holiday season, which has nothing to do with the mall, by the way. And I can sit and find the presence of God in the simplicity rather than the chaos. And when I started to make those things a daily habit, my holiday didn't matter. There were times I spent the holiday alone when I lived on the East Coast and my family was in Nebraska. And I really just enjoyed being with myself. I found ways to enjoy the holiday by myself. And it was okay. I didn't feel sorry for myself. When I started practicing that, even in the midst of the family chaos and the hubbub and the stuff that happens during the holidays, the dramas that always happen, I could find joy. I could tap into that joy rather than the anxiety and the chaos. But it wasn't an overnight practice. It was a muscle that I flexed every single day. So when you sit with what it is that you really want out of the holiday season this year, what is it? Is it simplicity? Is it kindness? Is it generosity? Is it gratitude? Is it joy? Maybe it's something other than what I mentioned. But sit with that one or two outcomes that you want for yourself, those emotions that you want for yourself. And how can you cultivate that? Because this is a season. It's not just a one-day thing. We make it seem like it's this massive event because it started at Halloween, really. But you have Thanksgiving, that's one day. You have Christmas, that's one day. If you celebrate Hanukkah, it's 8. But how can you cultivate and create the outcome that you're looking for? Let's just go back to a little change from the quote from the Grinch. Just that little reminder that maybe happiness doesn't come from a store. Maybe happiness, perhaps, means just a little bit more. Enjoy yourself through the holidays and let the others deal with their own stuff. Happy holidays, everyone. This is Holly Wade with Holly Wade Wellness. We'll see you soon.
Thank you for joining us at Living from the Inside Out. Listen every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. To connect with Holly, just go to www.globalvoiceradio.com. Global Voice Radio is where your voice and your message is heard.